down A. Last player standing.
Going up. Triple, baby. Flash.
One enemy remaining.
Kenzera uses a variety of different movements in this clip, and I know he's obviously insane at the game, but his movement is the biggest part of why he got this ace. In this video, I'll explain the fundamentals of movement and what you need to know in order to make it significantly harder to be hit by your opponents. Starting off firstly, you need to peek angles using A or D only. Do not run forward while peeking into an angle, as it'll make you look significantly slower out of the enemy's POV. Try to peek by moving to the right or left only without holding W in order to clear angles while making your in-game agent look faster to the enemies. Next up are going to be common movement patterns and simple tricks to throw off your opponent's aim by strafing. Almost all of the time you want to be strafing left and right when taking gunfights as shown in the clip. However, you can simply strafe towards one side multiple times in a row, which can fully throw off your opponents as everyone is used to people strafing left and right. You can also crouch in between your strafes in order to drop your head lower than their crosshair placement and potentially make the opponent miss 1 or 2 shots on your head. Up next will be crouching. Crouching is very overhated in the Valorant community, but it can be really beneficial if used right. Crouching is good for some off angles, and crouch spraying can be very effective if used in moderation and in the right moments. It slows down your movement by a lot, but you should not shy away from crouch spraying sometimes. Now we come to arguably one of the most important parts of movement in Valorant: jiggling, jump spotting, and swinging. Jiggling is effective at clearing angles and hiding behind cover, making it a safe option to gather info for the team. Jiggling can also be used to pre-fire angles, so you can maybe get a kill or two without your opponent having the time to react. Jump spotting, similar to jiggling, is a very effective method for gathering information and making it even harder for your enemy to hit you. Jump spotting works by jumping and strafing back into cover in the middle of the air. Make sure not to jiggle or jump spot if your cover is wallbangable. If you are seen jiggling, you'll get wallbanged and lose a lot of health or die. Swinging is very good for catching your opponents off guard by strafing hard outside of cover and going for a one-on-one gunfight. You should never swing for info, only swing if you are going to fully commit to a fight. Next up is going to be bunny hopping or bee hopping. Bee hopping is a mechanic in which you time your jump perfectly when you land, while being at your max speed and therefore not losing any of your speed. Bee hopping is mostly a fun mechanic, but it can also be used for skill jumps to reach some off angles in the game, and it can also be used to jump up big stairs a bit quicker. In order to bee hop, you need to strafe in the middle of the air continuously, similar to the jump spot, but going forward in this case. In Valorant, you can jump without making any noise. This can be beneficial to clear angles without revealing yourself. First of all, you can do the silent jump regularly, by crouching before jumping and then letting go of the crouch key in the middle of the air. You can also combine the silent jump with a jump spot in order to perform a silent jump spot. The last way to silent jump is when you jump upstairs. This way you don't need to slowly shift up the stairs and you can move up quickly without making any noise. Although this may sound controversial, run and gunning on certain weapons like the Spectre for example can be really strong in very close range fights, and especially against pistol rounds if you win the first round. Counterstrafing is a technique that originally came from CS, where it was very useful in order to strafe left and right. Many people think counterstrafing, just like in CS, is going to be useful in Valorant too, but that's sadly not true. Counterstrafing is pretty useless in Valorant, and just strafing left and right is gonna have the exact same effect because movement works a bit differently in Valorant. Many people may tell you to learn to counterstrafe, but in reality it will not impact your game at all. Even pros often don't do it. Lastly, here are some tips I can give you from my own experience. Strafing quickly does not equal better outcome. If you realize that you strafe quickly and still die first, try doing longer strafes, as this helps you line up your aim during your strafe. However, strafing quicker may help if the opponent is good at hitting you through longer strafes. You need to adapt to what the enemy is good or bad at. If your opponent is bad against short, quick strafes, do those. If it's the other way around, do long strafes instead. Another tip I can give you is that movement is not always necessary. For example, when you're on defense, it's often better to just stand still and hold off angles tightly. If you are playing more predictable angles, however, you should always move around a little bit, unless you're using an operator, of course. This was my short guide to cover most forms of movement in Valorant, and I hope it helped you improve, if even just a little bit. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.